Need to turn our focus overseas because fighting in the Middle East rages on as we enter day 4 into day 5 of Operation Epic Fury. Iran and its terror proxies ramping up their attacks, putting much of the region in their crosshairs. Moments ago, an urgent warning from the U.S. Department of State of a, quote, imminent threat of missile attacks over Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, which is the eastern part of that country. So, good morning. There's a lot to get to from New York City. I'm Bill Hemmer, and welcome to our coverage now. And Dana,
yes, good morning. It's good to be with you again. I'm Dana Perino, and this is America's Newsroom. So that target list includes the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia. 2 drones hitting the facility there, sparking a small fire. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Meanwhile, the U.S. military continues unleashing its massive firepower, targeting assets of the terror regime of all stripes. CENTCOM announcing the continued destruction of Iranian command facilities and missile and drone launch sites.
All right, from overseas to Washington, D.C. now, President Trump will meet today, this morning, in fact, with Germany's chancellor at the White House. The strikes in Iran front and center. Vice President J.D. Vance saying that no one should doubt the resolve of the commander-in-chief.
I think the president has made it very clear that the United States has a lot of optionality here. And, you know, we could go for a little bit longer, we could go for a lot longer, but I think the president just wants to make it clear to the Iranians and to the world that he is not going to rest until he accomplishes that all-important objective of ensuring that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, not just for the next few years, not just because we obliterated Fordow or some other enrichment facility, but because the Iranians themselves commit long-term to not building a nuclear weapon.
And Jennifer Griffin is live in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Dana. Well, there are increasing indications that some of the Gulf states' air forces may enter in carrying out airstrikes against Iran. They have been taking so much incoming in terms of ballistic missiles and drones that I'm told that, quote, the next 24 hours is going to be intense. A line has been crossed. As you mentioned, no U.S. personnel were killed or injured when the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was struck by at least 2 Iranian Shahid drones last night. It was largely empty at the time, but other military bases in Saudi Arabia are being targeted. In fact, I've just learned that Dammam, a port city and 5th largest city in Saudi Arabia, is currently under attack. The State Department just issued this urgent warning to Americans in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, an eastern coastal city near Bahrain. Quote, there is a threat of imminent missile and UAV attacks over Dhahran. Do not come to the U.S. consulate. Take cover immediately in your residence on the lowest available floor and away from windows. Do not go outside. The U.S. consulate in Dhahran urges U.S. citizens in Dhahran to shelter in place, review security plans in the event of an attack, and to stay alert in case of additional future attacks. U.S. consulate personnel are sheltering in place. The State Department is telling all Americans to leave the Middle East, finally announcing ordered departures at embassies across the Gulf states. Some questioning what took the State Department so long to issue this ordered departure. And now there are not many flights out of places like Dubai. U.S. bases and embassies across the Middle East are facing the constant threat of incoming missiles and drones, but the vast Iranian ballistic missile supply is likely to dwindle. Once the U.S. takes out more of its missile launchers, which they were doing overnight, their missile launchers are estimated in the hundreds. Without missile launchers, the 2,000 or so ballistic missiles can't be launched. The burn rate for the Iranians in firing those missiles, the ballistic missiles, is high, with about 500 being fired in the first few days at Israel and at the Gulf states. The Iranians have decentralized their decision-making. Small IRGC missile units were prepared for disruptions to their command and control. In fact, the U.S. took out the IRGC headquarters in Tehran with Tomahawk missiles in the initial hours of the conflict. The Iranian president has now decentralized decision-making to regional governors. That we learned this morning. Gulf allies, again, are quickly burning through their missile defense interceptors and are requesting urgent resupply for their Patriot and THAAD missile interceptors needed to shoot down these incoming Iranian drones and missiles. Actually, the THAAD and Patriots aren't used for the drones, but just for the missiles. The problem with the Shahid drones is they are not easily defended by these missile batteries, anti-missile batteries. In fact, you would not waste these expensive interceptors for the THAAD and Patriot on these drones, which are slow and low-flying and deadly autonomous munitions about the size of an SUV car. The Ukrainians perhaps have the most experience with shooting down these drones because Iran provided its Shahid drones and technology to Russia at the start of the Ukraine conflict. The Ukrainians have had to innovate and figure out how to defend against these deadly drones, often using fighter jets and helicopters to take them down. The death toll, back to earlier this week, the death toll now from the Iranian attack on U.S. forces that left 6 dead has not risen. We're told 18 U.S. troops remain seriously injured from that strike on their tactical operations center on Sunday. Dana.
All right, Jennifer Griffin, thank you for that update.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.